I think it's saying we're live. Are we? Yes, we're live. So I'm hoping for people to trickle in here. But let's see. Welcome from the crossroads of America. Talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. Answer questions from the audience, either in the chat or by email at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. I've got a Patreon page and all that other stuff, PayPal, one-time payment stuff, all down in the info section down there if anybody's interested. But that's that on that. Got the introductions done out the way. Let's see who's in the chat. I've only got in the chat so far. Southpaw, RX, and Raphael's here. I don't know who else is going to show up. I said it's Saturday afternoon. People are out and about, so hopefully other people will show up. But what I wanted to do, I'm going to put it in the chat now anyway, is I am in that that patch batch 2020 that G-Webs is doing, and which I thought I wanted to do it because I wanted to get some free patches for myself if I could give away as prizes, So if anybody's interested in it, I just put the link in the chat there, to go to the actual Indiegogo page where it's all happening at. So I just want to mention that. So I got that out of the way. That was the first thing on my list here. All right. Since we're going to get started here, I'm going to wait till the room fills up a little bit before I start on the main topic. But the second part of my thing, it just says body cams. Now, where I was going with that is, do you think civilians should wear body cams in everyday life type thing? Or you think that's going overboard? What do you think, New York?
I think it could definitely be helpful, and depending on your lifestyle, what you do, it also might, be a problem depending on your lifestyle, what you do. But simple things. It's almost like a dash cam video with accidents and stuff. Sometimes the video is what can save things. But I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't like being watched or stared at, so I think I feel funny sometimes. People with phones, you don't know if they're taking your picture or doing what. So cameras everywhere would personally make me a little nervous. But if you're out, maybe you're a landlord and you're dealing with your tenants, I think the body camera would probably be smart. You don't know. Somebody could try to accuse you of something. If you're, there's a lot of different jobs. I think. That would be helpful to kind of, cover CIA, cover your own butt, we'll say. So.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that. But personally, to me, you touched on it. To me, it's getting into your personal privacy. If I'm wearing a cam and I'm talking to you, do I have to get your permission?
Yeah, it depends on state. I know different states have different, laws of that. I know my state, it's, I believe it's one-party consent. So if I want to video you or record you, I give consent, I can do so. I can't publish your name or anything like that, to my knowledge, without your permission, or a photo of you or something like that. But that's different on every state. So it's, I can see that being an issue some places, but again, I think it would be more tailored towards maybe certain, things. Maybe it's I don't know, meetings, appointments, things to help you remember things, or things to reference, or things that might be hairy situations that it might be better for everybody.
Patriot in the Dark's out in the chat, and he goes, definitely no to the body cams. Think it's bad now. Wait until Skynet finds out. Hey, well, what's your thing on it, Squib, or are you in checking out?
I'm getting in the truck. Hopefully it doesn't do the whole Android Auto thing and cut me off here. So I would support a law, a federal law, that would keep anybody, even states or local municipalities, from prohibiting the use. I'm not for something requiring the use, but I don't want to ever see it legislated where you can't. You've heard about that new Apple app, right? Pulled over?
No.
Okay, so there's a new app for Apple, and if you say Siri, and you have to download it, it's not automatically installed, and you say, Siri, I'm getting pulled over, it'll turn off your music, turn off the screen on your phone, and turn on your front-facing camera, record it, and send it to the cloud. In addition to recording it, sends a copy to the cloud, and you put a contact in there, your like emergency contact, and it sends them a message with your GPS coordinates.
Wow.
And that way, if the cops say anything or doctor any body camera footage or whatever, you've got your copy. And that's something I think is very important, is that no matter what, if you're recording, they can get a copy of your recording, but they can't take your original. Just like the whole Freedom of Information Act, there shouldn't be any delay in how long it takes to get body cam footage or dash cam footage or whatever, because we pay taxes for that. So I don't like this stuff where they don't release it right away or what, because what are you doing to it in the meantime?
Sometimes they just won't give it to you at all. And
yeah.
They'll tell you it has to be drawn out of trial.
I mean, would you
trying to get a term for it? But
I just don't want it prohibited. I don't like the idea. Like if I was okay, like right now, I'm live on YouTube. I can turn my camera on and you guys can look in the parking lot at Myers. I wouldn't want somebody walking up to me going, "What are you doing?" I'm just showing my friends the parking lot at Myers. Well, you're filming me, and I don't like it. And and there are people that do that. I've actually had people jump into the shot, and I'm kind of trying to wave them out of the shot. I'm like, I understand some people don't want to be filmed. They don't want to be recorded. But when you're out in public, you're out in public. There's cameras everywhere, and they're never going away. So, I mean, unless somebody was maybe making money off of it somehow or doing something criminal, like some sort of weird porno stuff with it, I don't see a problem with it because I have nothing to hide, and I don't want my rights to be able to be live on YouTube or to record the interaction with the law enforcement person or whatever it is. Say I think I'm about to get ripped off at customer service, when I go to return something. Why can't I turn my camera on and film it just in case we end up in court over it? So I think with the technology being there, I just don't want to see them prevent you from doing it, but I don't want them to make it a requirement that you have to carry it with you everywhere.
All right. Blind Shooter, what do you think?
I'm kind of in agreement with both Squib and Outcast on it. I mean, I don't want to see it be made mandatory that you have to do it, yet at the same time, I can see the pros and cons that having a body cam would serve. But I mean, we all know, for example, that for every good thing that comes with a body camera, you're going to have one idiot that misuses it and then makes, a big spectacle out of it, and then it's mainstream media for the next 6 months, and there's more protests and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, but I mean, would you use one?
This is your show. I don't want to get you kicked off YouTube, so we're going to leave that till the after chat.
All right. Hey, Kingpin, what do you think about civilians using body cams?
Well, first of all, I'm probably going to agree with Blind Shooter because I think I might know where he's going with that. I don't care. Use a camera if you want. That don't make no difference to me. R. Kelly said it wasn't him. So, I mean, it's not like just because you got video that it's locked in, set, and that's the end of the trial or whatever. No more troubles. But if you want to use a camera, I think it's good. If anything, it brings a lot of entertainment to the internet. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen the dash cams coming out of Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how those people survive over there. I mean, that is the craziest driving I've ever seen in some of those cases.
Yeah.
They go right to turn left, and I don't know. I'd be ticked off. There ain't no way I'd be driving. Everybody's driving. Seems like the cheaper or real expensive cars. There's no way I'd drive an expensive car over there. I don't know if it's just where we only see the worst, but man, it's horrible. It's, you know, those dash cam videos get me crazy sometimes. I'm like, wow, like it's amazing.
All right, Guns and Barbecue. What do you think about civilians using body cams?
Well, the idea of privacy was touched on before, but I believe the Supreme Court had ruled that when you're out in public, you have no reasonable expectation of privacy. I mean, you could walk down the street and probably, you know, what, a 10th or 20th of the houses that you walk by now are probably going to have some sort of cameras filming their yard that's going to pick you up. As far as the body cameras go, the way I look at it is if we are saying police officers should have body cameras, why don't we as firearm owners look at having that same evidence to protect ourselves in case we end up in a questionable shoot?
Yeah, I mean that's what I was thinking of when I used it as a to open up my title there. That's the only thing it would come in handy for. You know,
that could be a double-edged sword in a way too, and also, you know, so that's one of the things I would personally wouldn't hand over any video. I'd be going right to an attorney. That's just me, because even if it is right, you know, something, you know how things go in some places. So, you know, I wouldn't count on a video to exonerate you in a gun-friendly area. So.
No, but Barbecue's comment kind of got me thinking about what we were talking about last night on Right of the People, because we were kind of debating about the whole Albuquerque thing, right, with Mr. Skateboard and all that. And when I watched it the first time, I saw one thing. When I watched it the second time, I noticed a little bit more, in my opinion, more clearly, a second thing. And once I saw it the second time, I was certain that he overstepped his bounds. You know, forget about the whole he was carrying a gun illegally. If he was legally carrying a gun, I don't consider it a good shoot. But if he had a body cam or a cam on his gun and it showed his point of view and it looked different to him than it does to me, he might be able to argue that in court and go, it looked to you from your angle that they were running away from me, but it didn't look to me like they were backing off at all. And it might hold up in court. So it could go either way. It could send you up the river, or it could save your butt, because perception is everything. What it looks like to the defender may not necessarily look like it from the attacker's point of view.
And there's another good point. Like, go back to this shooting in Atlanta with that guy that was drunk in the drive-thru. They're saying that he was shot in the back. Now, I'm not sure on, you know, what angles this was done at and things like that. But either way, apparently the guy had the entrance wounds in the back. Now, let's say you are in a self-defense situation. The person's running away from you, but they are still pointing a gun at you and ready to shoot. Well, you shoot them, and they say, well, he shot him in the back. He was running away. Well, now you've got video evidence saying, well, he had a gun pulled on me still.
No, I agree with you on that one. You know, I mean, that's where it would come in handy, because they're going to say, well, he shot in the back, so he was running away from you. But he had his arm pointing backwards, you know, was shooting at me, you know. So I can understand that to a certain degree. All right. We got everybody on that topic, right? All right, let's move on to the main one. I mean, it's a very slow day today, but we'll see what you guys come up with. What in the F is the silent majority? I mean, I hear people all the time, well, the silent majority is what's going to make all the difference. The silent majority are the ones that are going to, you know, come out and either vote for, you know, Biden or vote for Trump and stuff like that. Who are the silent majority? Somebody please tell me.
I think a lot of those are people that just don't vote anyway. So I don't know.
You know, I mean, I hear people use the word silent majority, but is there a silent majority?
Yeah. Good.
Rick, a good example of the silent majority is I'm out and about today just buying groceries. Now, it's the day before Father's Day, so there's people out doing last-minute shopping. But I've been to like 4 stores already today, and they've all been packed. And people are doing more than just buying Father's Day presents. People are out and about, and they're going about their regular life. Now, we haven't finished this COVID-19 thing. Not everybody's back to work. There's still riots going on in cities all across the country. But in this little slice of Oakland County that I'm in, you wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know that there's a pandemic and a national emergency, and we just had part of our executive order turned off. You wouldn't know that there's riots going on. You wouldn't know that there's all this, police brutality and racism stuff and all that. And I think that typifies the silent majority. The people that just go about their life as if nothing else is happening outside of their little world. And everybody's little world is all over the country in their little bubble, and it doesn't matter to them. I'm not talking about the people that watch every second of the news because they have nothing better to do, or the people that watch the business report because they watch their stocks and bonds like a hawk, or whatever, or even some of the people on YouTube looking for topics for their show. But I think a lot of people just go about their business and say, it ain't here, it's not my problem. And I mean, I'm one of those people to some extent, and maybe that's the silent majority.
I think a good example for the silent majority is we're the vocal minority, if you want to look at it like this, for gun rights. How many people that own firearms are getting on YouTube or other platforms and saying, hey, our rights are being threatened this way, that way, the other thing, and having these conversations. Meanwhile, there's millions of firearms owners that they just sit at home, they don't say anything, they're not real worried or anything like that. But then when something like 2013 happens after Sandy Hook, they finally say, hey, you're coming after my guns, I don't like this. And all of a sudden we got this big uprising, and we stopped 27 executive orders or something like that they were trying to funnel through.
Did you so you're saying like that back then, that the gun owner silent majority stopped that, all that stuff that Obama was trying to do and stuff with the gun control?
Yeah, because if it would have only been, the people that are jumping on YouTube or GunTube or, these other platforms and saying, hey, this is happening, that's happening, check out this gun or that gun, we're a drop in the bucket when you look at the majority of firearms owners. The majority of them, they're not getting involved with most of the time. They're not paying attention to what's happening. And when that happened, they stopped being the silent majority and helped sway what was happening. That way, we had those things stopped. If it would have just been, the people that you see active on YouTube, whether it's people that are watching and commenting or making content, how much could we have actually accomplished without that overwhelming swell?
Yeah. I mean, if I, to me, as I said, I don't know what the silent majority is. The only thing I can put down to is somebody who is just, there's a person or persons who are out there. They watch the news, they read what's going on. They don't say anything until it comes to voting time. Then they come out and vote what they believe in. But during the rest of the time, they don't say anything. They just keep their mouth shut and go on about their lives. Is that the silent majority? I don't know.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? What do you think it is?
Well, you can look at voter statistics and see that that's not the silent majority. Hardly anybody in America votes. When you go across the voting population and you look at people who actually showed up to the polls, it's a minuscule number. So the silent majority is the majority. You know, you got the people who are scared to offend somebody or scared to get offended. And then you got, you know, like you guys have already said, the people who just go about their regular everyday and aren't concerned about this, don't know about this, don't care about this. I don't think it's the, I don't think there's any, I mean, it's pretty clear, it's whether, not whether I think or not, the statistics prove it out year after year at the polls that the majority of voting age Americans don't vote.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
think
I get
fear and
right.
intimidation play a role in that, though? Maybe they do have an opinion on something, but they don't say it because they're afraid they'll get fired, or they're afraid they'll alienate their family, or something like that. I mean, do you think people are intimidated?
Yeah, definitely. There's people who are afraid to say something about the kid next door that's got his radio too loud and is keeping their baby awake or disturbing them watching TV. There's people, I mean, there's all kinds of that kind of stuff. People who don't want to rock the boat. And then there's also the kid next door might be a little son of a bitch and probably busted out your windows last time you complained about it.
Yeah, yeah. I know, like when I lived up there in Rhode Island, you know, the certain people knew that I mean, that I was into firearms and I concealed carried. But most of the time, because I was behind enemy lines there, and you know, I just kept my mouth shut. If I'm sitting there eating, you know, my breakfast or dinner or whatever, and somebody is mouthing off about gun control, how great it is, right? A lot of times I would just sit there. I wouldn't agree with them, but I wouldn't disagree with them because I was always outnumbered, so I was intimidated.
I
You know?
think I think my guesstimation, this is just off the top of my head, I don't have anything to back it up. It's just kind of what I'm going with. I think the majority of gun owners, you know, if you take all the guns that have been sold and figure out just about how many people have them, and I know there's guys like us that have, you know, closets full of guns and safes full of guns, so we kind of mess up the average a little bit. But yeah, we all have one gun. That's it, and it's locked up properly with the ammunition stored separately. That's what I meant to say. Uh, but there's a lot of people out there that aren't interested, like my dad. You know, my dad's got nice cars, and you know he collects toys, and he's got a real cool toy collection. He could have 1 million subscribers on YouTube and Instagram overnight, but he doesn't want to show people his stuff because he doesn't want anybody messing with his stuff. And a lot of gun owners are the same way. You know, I got a gun. I don't need people to know that I got a gun because the gun is for me. So, like I think Guns and Barbecue was talking about the social media gun crew, like me, who takes pictures of their guns and does videos of their guns and stuff like that. We're a real small amount of people. You know, most people probably just don't want that extra attention. Plus, you know, you got to think about the thing that we all have to worry about. If I'm filming a bunch of stuff and people know where I live at, and then I tell everybody I'm going on vacation for a month, when I come back, all my guns are going to be gone because everybody knows what I got and everybody knows that I'm gone. You know, a lot of people, you know, keep their privacy like that.
Yeah.
I think that's a good analogy. You don't want people to know what you've got. You don't want people to know how you vote. You don't want people to know how much money you have or whatever it is, because there's a threat of persecution or theft, or that's a good analogy.
Yeah. Who hasn't mentioned anything about this? Blind shooter? Silent majority. Who is it?
To me, I think the silent majority is just the average working class citizen that, you know, isn't out there making their voices known on platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, but are vocal when it comes time to actually get out there and vote and make the choices that they want to see happen for their area. I mean, we see all the time where you'll get all these like big media outlets like Fox, ABC, CBS saying, "Oh, we ran this poll and it shows that X amount of people approve of the president, this many people disapprove." Who the hell are they polling? Because it's nobody that I know of.
Yeah, I've never been polled in my life. You know?
Yeah, me neither. Well, not in military I was, but that everybody did, but that was different. But around here, I've never been polled for anything.
Exactly. So that's who your silent majority is. Like when Trump first got elected, everyone's like, "Well, how did this happen?" Because nobody went to the local farmer who's taking care of his community. Nobody went up and asked the soccer mom of 3 kids. Nobody bothered to ask the firefighter, the cop, the teacher. They all went to the top white collar employment areas where, hey, you're run by this major company. You're probably going to vote for this person.
Well, real quick, Midnight Rains gets polled all the time, so just so you guys know that. I don't think it's the same poll you're talking about, though. But I mean, think about how many of your neighbors have you been sitting around? You know, if you smoke cigarettes or have a beer or at a cookout, or you know, just happen to catch them while they're walking out to the mailbox and you're cutting your grass, and you're just talking to your neighbor, and you mentioned, oh, did you see what happened on the news? And they're like, oh, I don't watch the news anymore. That's just it's just all bad all the time, and I'm not interested in that. There's a lot of people who, once again, back to the like us, we're highly in tune to politics and firearms. I know a ton about politics and popular culture, and a guy like Squibb knows a lot about politics and popular culture, and he also knows everything about guns. There's a lot of people like me. I'm a gun guy. I'm with y'all. I couldn't hold up in a conversation like on Caliber Corner. Most of the time when I'm on Caliber Corner, I throw in a little bit of here and there, but all those guys are so far ahead of me in firearms knowledge, I can't keep up with them. So when we're sitting here having these discussions about politics, and then somebody's like, "Oh, I didn't even know that happened." I was watching a video the other day of this guy from Baltimore, and he was talking to a cab driver, and he asked him about Chopped. Guy didn't even know that Chop was happening. And he was like, where you been for the past 2 weeks? The guy was like, I'm working, man. I don't watch the news. It's all bad. I don't want to hear all that.
Yeah. I mean, is that the silent majority?
I would think more people are like that than not, at least in my area. Most people don't speak much when it comes to things like that.
And that's why stuff happens.
Well, you go like Rob was just saying, and Squib brought it up earlier, talking about the town that he lives in. I'm not sure where Rob lives at, but going by the name New York, we all think of New York City. And no good news ever comes out of New York City. If you want to hear about people getting raped and robbed and murdered every day, turn on the news in New York. Y'all know I live right outside Baltimore. There's never, how many politicians go to jail? How many, people are raped every night? How many people are shot every day? People don't want to hear all that stuff. They turn it on to see the news and traffic, and then they turn it off, or the weather and traffic and turn it off.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. And I think it's bad that people do that. Mind you, but then again, the mainstream media today is so is slanted so badly. I don't watch it either. But what I'm saying is, some law could be passed in Congress that's detrimental to your way of life that you do, and you don't know it. The first thing you know about it is when you go try to do something, and they say you can't do that anymore, and you go, what?
Well, that's done on purpose, though.
I live that way. I don't understand people living that way.
The laws, they stack on so many laws. If you look at July and every October is when the legislative sessions end. When the next month comes around, you've got 1,000 more laws, 100 more laws, 50 more laws, and you're responsible for knowing them. They throw 100 more laws on every 6 months, so you can't keep up with it. Because when a cop pulls you over, like now in Maryland, you can't have anything hanging from your windshield. Like, people would hang dice or, put their glasses around their rearview mirror or whatever, hang their GPS on their windshield. You can't do that anymore. Nobody knew that until people started getting pulled over for it.
Yeah, I think it's across the board too, not just in as far as police or whatever, but even certain situations where I've gone to get a permit, a building permit. The year before A was required, the year after B was required, or they switch things up a lot when it comes to laws in a lot of different places or requirements. To the point where the inspector's like, I don't even know yet, and he's got to go search through the books to try to figure out to give me an answer. So it does make things kind of tricky when they always, nonstop want to keep changing things. One day it's okay, the next day it's not, and the next day it is, but you got to have a red one, or and then 2 days later the red's no good, it's got to be purple, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Too many laws.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but I guess I'm thinking of the person who just, does his own thing.
I've got a good example of the law being an issue, of too many laws in a sense where I was approved to go pick up another handgun. But if I was to go to the sheriff's department, they were going to have to arrest me, because at the time I had a warrant for my arrest for missing court, which I didn't miss. Thankfully, I got it all figured out with a simple handwritten note from the clerk, and I was able to hand that in at the sheriff's, and I was given my firearm. But still, I was approved for a firearm with an arrest warrant out for it. So there's too much going on. They don't keep up with stuff as it is, in my opinion. So I think there's a lot of issues as far as the laws.
Yeah, but I guess I was being a bit more broader than just your local law like that. I'm talking, I guess I'm talking, with the laws of the state of the country, per se. They do something, and boom, it's done, and you're sitting there going, what? I don't know. It's hard for me to explain what I'm trying to explain here. Is that I find it hard that people, we've had this discussion before, like what's going on around the world. And a lot of Americans say, we don't give a fuck. It's not happening here. Which I find shocking, because what's happening over there could be on your doorstep and you know nothing about it. Also, bring our troops home. We don't want them fighting over there. Now, this might upset a few people. I'd rather have our troops fighting on their land and not have them fighting here in our own country. It's always better to fight in somebody else's land than fight on your own. So that's my opinion on that one. That's why I keep an eye on all this stuff. I might not know a lot, but I try to watch what's going on, in the country, in the world, to see just, it's just the way I've always been. And I find it strange when people just go through life just worrying about what's going. One of my cousins is a prime example. He's the same age as me. He's a old country boy. I remember him as a kid when I lived here when I used to stay here on the farm. And he hasn't changed. All he's worried about is, making sure he has money for he can go down to the bar and buy his beer and play cards with his buddies. He had to go into hospital because his legs swelled up like a balloon, and it found out that he had blood clots in his legs, right? And there was a bunch of forms he had to fill out and stuff. And he calls his sister, and asks her to come and help him because he doesn't understand him. Because he just in his own little bubble. And I find that the strangest thing in my life. People there, and there's a lot of people like that. And it scares me what this country's coming to. It really is. Look what's going on now. I know I'm going way off topic, but I'm throwing another one out there. Another thing I was watching the other day, and where Pelosi said, take down those 4 pictures of who were the House speakers because they were connected with the Confederate Army, Confederacy, right? Oh yeah, take them down. They're all hooray and clapping. But what she didn't tell you was all 4 of them were Democrats. You know, she didn't want the public to know that. You know, because I looked it up. All 4 of them were the Democrat Party.
See, we talked about it last night on Joe Smith's show, and that the whole trying to erase the racism and get the racist people and the Confederacy and all that and take it off that way it doesn't hurt people. That's going to have a negative effect on their whole platform. They run on race and division. So if they take down all of these monuments and they get rid of all the monuments and all the rebel flags and, you know, all the racists out there, what do you think they're going to do next? Because Jesse Jackson, perfect example, Al Sharpton. If we snapped our fingers and racism was cured all across the planet instantaneously, Al Sharpton, what's he going to do?
Oh, yeah. I agree with you. What I want to know, talking about going on that same principle, is so are we going to change the dollar bill, the $100 bill, the $50 bill? And is it the
I hope not.
Because the presidents on there all had slaves.
I got problems with the money now. Nobody wants to, you know, pull into a gas station and try to, you know, throw $30 in gas with $100 bill, and they look at you like you got 2 heads sometimes.
And I mentioned this the other day on the daytime show: is when are they going to start demanding that the Mount Rushmore get destroyed?
Well, not only that, but I mean, if you take it a step further, you know, they want all the Confederacy stuff taken down because it was racist and, you know, a lot of bad shit was done. At what point do the Muslims kick up stink and the Native Americans kick up stink saying, well, the American flag needs to be taken away because, you know, your troops killed our people and you came to America. We were here first, yet you killed, raped, and did everything to the Native Americans.
Oh, I agree with you. It's getting out of control. I mean, yes, it happened in the past. Yes, and I think you shouldn't destroy or erase that history. You should keep it there. I'm not saying that, you know, you say, yes, the Confederacy slaves was the greatest thing that ever happened. No, but you keep it there to remind you what happened, why it happened. And as they say, if you don't watch it, history will repeat itself. If you're wiping it out, how are people going to know that's what happened before?
Should we get rid of our space program and erase all of that because it was developed by Nazis? You know, I mean, it makes no sense.
Well, I know, but that's the way the country's going.
Okay, as the only Southerner on this panel, I'm going to tell you damn Yankees for the 100th time. You guys were the bad guys during the war. The Confederates were not evil. Most of the people who fought in the war.
Yeah, Squib got dropped out because he was talking nonsense. Hey, Squibby, welcome back, bud.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I just read this morning that it was in California or somewhere. The crowd toppled a statue of Ulysses S. Grant because if anybody knows their history, he was married to a woman whose family had slaves, and he had one. They gave him one. He freed him.
Did they burn down Kamala Harris's house yet?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, they're not going to either. Not yet, anyway.
That's what I'm saying. It's getting totally ridiculous. Also, did you guys hear in the beautiful summer of love, 2 people got shot last night. One died, and the other one is, you know, in critical care right now. And they wouldn't let the police in. They said their own chopped medics, took them to hospital. You know?
Well, if they had any integrity, they wouldn't have went to that hospital either, because that capitalistic narco societal oppressive hospital kills black people and oppresses the gays more than anything else. So why did they take them to a nice, developed American hospital?
I agree with it. I mean, it goes that it's not the summer of love. And I mean, it's not the summer of love. What that moron Yankee keeps putting bullshit, he keeps spouting on the internet. You know, you got to get past that front. Once you get past that front and you get deep into it, it's nasty. And they need to law and order. The cops need to go in there and move them out.
I say screw the cops and then the Marines. Let Squib handle it.
You know,
I seen video, I believe, of that shooting where there was police officers. The one that took place last night. So they had a few police officers, a car, ambulance, obviously. Apparently, one of the people that got shot got hit in the leg, and she was one of their local paramedics. So thankfully, she had a trauma bag or whatever on her at the time. And, sat down. Was conscious enough to help herself at that point. But there was police officers there.
What was
there
it was a shooting about? Anybody know?
I have no idea what the shooting was about or anything. I just saw it, just a quick 2-minute segment as somebody else was watching it, so I didn't really catch it all. But I did notice there was a black female officer that seemed to be doing well with the crowd, and the crowd tend to try to force the white officers back away and trying to get in your car and go, blah blah blah.
Well, I mean, the article I read, they wouldn't let
racial pricks in a sense.
They wouldn't let the police in there unless it must be they wouldn't let the white police in there. I don't know.
Yeah, well, there was at least three that I seen in the video that I saw, which was I have no idea where it came from, anything like that, so I can't speak of. But
okay. All right.
The most beautiful part about all of that is they hate the cops. All cops are bastards and defund the police and all that kind of stuff. And it's like popular culture now to say you hate cops and F the pigs and all that kind of stuff. But then all these suckers call the cops when they get in trouble. And then what's even worse is these cops that you hate so much, when you call them after you spit at them, then you ask them for help, they help you. Amazing how that works. These horrible bastard cops help the guy that just spit on them.
I know.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So there was 2 people shot at that thing that's going on in Seattle.
Yep.
I said because I haven't heard about it yet.
One died.
All right, so there's people that still advocate and now are probably using this as the excuse to send in the military. Why? It's American citizens. They're having a peaceful protest. Why in the world would you send in the military just because 2 people got shot? Well, how many people got shot in Chicago last weekend? We're going to roll the military in there and just start, rounding people up and shooting them and everything else and have martial law there? Let's say you can't judge these people because one bad egg. That's like when firearms owners are judged because somebody shot up a school. It's not right.
Well, see, they're not protesting. They
excuse
took
me
over
for a
the whole
second.
community.
Yeah, go ahead, Blanchard. Go ahead, Blanchard. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, Kingpin.
Yeah, it's. I don't know what your definition of peaceful protest is, but that's not a peaceful protest. It's not. It's totally not, and it's not one bad apple. If you turn on the news for the past 2 weeks, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of bad apples out there. It's not one bad apple, and that's the furthest thing from a peaceful protest as you're going to get.
Yeah, I mean,
I would call it mixed. I think there's people there that almost it went down like Yankees just to take a look around. I think there's a lot of locals that take a look around. The local government doesn't seem to care. The local stores and stuff are all donating, happy to donate all types of stuff to them. So I don't. you know, I think again, anybody can go down there with their buddies, take a couple pictures, and claim whatever the heck they want, and that fits the narrative. So the news is going to run with it. Would I say it's a safe place? Probably not. It's probably not a safe place.
I mean,
I'm sure things change quick and a lot of things happen, but there's probably just as many assaults in my neighborhood on an average night than there is there with police. So
to me, I don't know. I mean, it's not a peaceful protest. Once you write graffiti on a building, you broke the fucking law because it doesn't belong to you. Once you destroy something,
right, but that's one person that wrote graffiti or a group of people, not everybody.
Every single square inch of that 6 blocks has been tagged up.
Sure.
That's not one person that did that.
Right, but it's still not everybody. It's just like Guns and Barbecue said, you know, because a few guys run around and want to shoot people doesn't mean we're all bad.
Hashtag not all, hashtag just most.
Well, see, like,
I wouldn't
like
say
with
most.
tagging.
So you're saying hashtag let them fucking do what they're doing. It's the way to go. It's the way America should be. Bullshit. Go in
So
there.
you're saying there's no First Amendment right to peaceful protests?
They're not,
They are
no,
not peacefully protesting.
they're not protesting. They're doing a sit-in, basically.
All right,
Okay.
so go back to Kent State. Was Kent State all right?
It's not. They're not protesting. What are they getting? They got,
Kent State was a sit-in, and look what happened there.
you know.
That's
Yeah,
absolutely irrelevant.
this ain't
That's
a
absolutely
protest.
irrelevant.
See,
But
I'd like to just add
my
in,
point is, people are advocating for bringing in the military. If you're saying this is a sit-in, it's not a protest. Well, Kent State was a sit-in, and they brought in the military, and look what happened. I think it's completely relevant when you're talking about using military force on American citizens.
I'm not personally talking about using the military. I'm saying just get the police in there and do it.
How many stores were boarded up? How many houses are put up for sale? How many people moved out of the neighborhood and are staying in hotels at Kent State? Because that's happening all over the place down in Chicago, where these people are gladly opening their stores and giving away their products to these people. Come on, man. I don't get it.
well, see, now,
Well, a
just
lot
like
of these
add in with
people are
the-
outside the zones that are donating. Yeah, like I said, I'm not agreeing with everything. I'm just saying that's what's
they're
going on. If
accomplices.
the locals
They're-
aren't upset, what are we bitching for on the other side of the country?
If you're outside of the zone and you're donating, you're an accomplice.
Absolutely. You know. I
In
mean,
America, we have a system. The system ain't perfect. The system takes time, and you don't always win. But we have a system so that we don't have a mob. Them taking over a part of a city that nobody in America really cares
That's a
about.
mob.
That's a mob. Okay. I mean, people keep talking about me going down there handing out job applications. Maybe I really need to. You know, here's the thing. Whether or not they're
Better wear armor.
Whether I don't wear armor, screw that shit. All right,
You go down there, you're gonna need it probably. So handing
I
out
ain't
job
gonna need it.
applications.
I mean,
I
they,
ain't
Sure,
gonna
people
need it.
will take
Always
that
need
as an
armor at a
insult.
peaceful protest.
I mean, they tried to do the same thing in Portland a few days ago. The police shut them down. They said, "Oh no, you ain't doing that in this town," and they moved them out.
we also, like, with regards to what's going on down in Seattle, I think all of us right now on the panel can agree we all support legal, lawful gun ownership. Those that have taken over this area in Seattle, if they have any firearm and they're breaking the law, if you're supporting them, then clearly you're a hypocrite saying, "Oh, I support legal gun ownership." You can't have it both ways.
How is them having a firearm breaking the law?
If they're occupying a community and they have firearms and you're not allowed to either legally have it open or you're out there doing harm with it, you're breaking the law. You don't own the gun legally, you're violating the law, then you're not a legal law-abiding gun owner.
In Washington State, yeah, they've got some very restrictive laws. You can't just hand somebody your gun and go, "Here, you can borrow this." You can't open carry.
Yes, you
And
can. In Washington State, you can open carry.
I don't know. All the people
I think
that
there's a
come
fine line on that one.
all the people that come on YouTube and whine and complain and go, "It's those people in Seattle. It's not on the other side of the mountains."
Well,
You know,
okay. I mean, as much as I dish the guy, right on the 2nd of every month, you see. I mean, Yankee goes out and open carries because it's legal in Washington State.
I thought he lived in Oregon.
No, he lives in Washington.
I thought he lived in Oregon.
He
I thought
used
he lived
to.
on the other side of the river.
He used to, but he moved a few years ago.
Regardless, the thing is, this isn't what we do in America. We don't take over a part of the city and declare it a sovereign nation or something. At that point, yeah, they should all be charged with federal charges for treason and face those charges. They should tell them, all right, you got 24 hours to disperse, or we're coming in there, and anybody who's in here is going to be charged federally with treason. We will prosecute you. We got plenty of room in the prisons. Done.
Okay. I mean, when they had protests before and the cops came in, I remember watching this as a kid. I can't remember where it was. Cops came in. The guys, it was a sit-in. They were sitting there. Cops came in and just picked them up, moved them out, and put them in the paddy wagon and arrested them. I can't remember what they charged them with, but that's all they got to do with these people. Just go in there, it's gone beyond a peaceful protest.
Well, it's like what they do here in New York when all the protests first started. Yes, I mean, some will probably disagree with me on this one, but it's your First Amendment right to peacefully protest. Here in New York, we're allowing them to peacefully protest. But when they start marching in the street, sitting down and blocking traffic, that's violating the law. We have every right to pick you up, toss you in the paddy wagon, and you can go become Bubba's playmate.
So should they have arrested Dr. King and everybody that marched with him? Back in the streets?
You got Rick.
He got arrested quite a few times.
Did Martin Luther King take over a city?
Let me explain.
They got to take over a city. They took over some city blocks.
Okay, 6 blocks, whatever. It doesn't matter. This is not a sovereign country. You can't go, I'm a sovereign citizen. This land is mine. You can't tax me. You can't make the rules. You can't this. You can't. No, that's not America.
But when did they say that they were sovereign citizens?
When they
won.
set it up.
What do you think CHOP stands for?
Yeah, they declared it their own country. They chode or something.
And basically what they're doing is they're backtracking on themselves. That's why they changed their name to CHOP. Because the autonomous name is what they were, people were, well, if you're autonomous, that means you're not, you have got nothing to do with America. So as far as I'm concerned, you're treason.
Okay, so then they changed their name from the autonomous zone to, I believe it was
the protest, something or another.
Yes, something protest.
Yeah,
organized protest. What it was, organized protest.
Yeah, to skirt the law, basically, is what they did that for. But their ideas haven't changed. No, go. I mean, you can go protest, go arrest them for sitting in the street. For blocking traffic. That's what you arrest them for. Yeah, they get booked and they get released. But at least you cleared them out of the way.
Yeah, but keep in mind their locals don't think that's an issue. So I mean, I think that's where the problem lies. Is their local government seems to support it.
Oh, that their local government they're still in their basement. They're scared shitless. They're afraid to do it in case people. They're afraid to do it in case what people might say about them. That's the only reason they don't know. They won't do it because they're scared of what people are going to say. If they do it, they're scared of what people are going to say. In other words, their leadership in that city is fucking pathetic. Excuse my language. They're cowards.
Yeah, here's the thing. Some of the people that are down there that are supporting them might be doing it out of fear. Some of the people that might be supporting them might believe in them. They stick a camera in somebody's face and they go, oh yeah, this is great. I think it's great. I've been living here all my life and I love this and I stand with them. And there could be a bunch of angry people right behind that camera going, you better say what we want. Or it could be one of the angry people and they just go stand in this yard and act like you live here. We don't know what the entire truth based on all the rumors, all the YouTube crap, videos like Yankees, the media, and all that other stuff. But if the locals there are okay with this, fine, be okay with it. But then just shut the hell up about it. We don't want to hear about it anymore. If you want to let a bunch of thugs take over 6 square blocks of your city, vandalize it, do whatever, or whatever the heck they're doing in there, go ahead. Just shut up about it because the rest of the country doesn't care. You can fall into the ocean for all we care.
But it's not them. It's the national media that want to sensationalize it. Like you guys are talking about people that are graffitiing, which I'm not saying that all of them are innocent or anything. I'm sure some of them are writing graffiti, but you also have a lot of agitators that are going to be going in there, just like with like the protests in Minneapolis. You got agitators that come in and then they started riots. It's
Okay, Barbecue. Have you ever been to a two-way rally?
No, I have not had the opportunity.
All right, so let me tell you what happens at a two-way rally. I'll tell you what they say it happens at a two-way rally. Antifa shows up, a bunch of protesters show up, they mingle in the crowd, they taunt the cops, they start throwing bricks and bottles, and what they do is they cause an incident where the cops are going to shoot on all these law-abiding gun owners, and they're going to make us look bad. It's going to get on the 6 o'clock news, and they're going to take away our Second Amendment for sure. That's what they say every single time. And guess what happens at a two-way rally? None of it. Because they're organized, they're planned, and the people going there, even though they have differences in opinion, and maybe they're there for different reasons, they're all still there to support the Second Amendment. Now, some people say don't open carry at a rally. Some people say do. Some people, will have differences of opinion on little things like that. But overall, the rallies run smooth. They have a time where they're supposed to start, a time where they're supposed to end. Everybody knows that, and you file a permit for it.
And you clean up after yourself when you're done with the protest.
Yes. Now, in my state, in Michigan, we've had 3 rallies in Lansing where I go all the time. What happened to the audio?
I can hear you.
We hear you.
All right. There was an echo. Anyhow, we had 3 rallies this year in Lansing where I go all the time for Second Amendment rallies, and I've been to rallies in other states as well. But they were there to protest our governor's executive orders. They were there to protest these businesses getting shut down and not being able to pay their bills. They were there protesting all of our civil rights being violated. They were there to protest the fact that she's fighting the other government agencies in our state that are saying, no, this isn't right. She's overstepping her bounds. But what happened at these rallies? They brought in a damn Trump float. They're holding abortion signs, and they're carrying guns. This rally was not about Donald Trump, the Republican Party, abortion, or the Second Amendment. And what did the news report on? Nothing but that. What did the governor use to defend herself? Nothing but that. And I did not go down there any of the 3 times, even though I could have. It's only 90 minutes away. I go there all the time. I know where to go, what to do, but I wasn't standing with them because I didn't agree with that. I didn't think you should politicize it. It should be about freedom. It shouldn't be about Donald Trump. And I didn't think you should bring guns there. As much as I bring guns, I open carry in Lansing all the time. I didn't think it was right to do it this time. It distracted from the issue, and it gave the governor everything she needed in order to pretty much badmouth the protest. And it worked 3 times. They didn't learn their lesson the first time or the second time. Now, you might have strong feelings, and you might feel like you need to be down there in those 6 square blocks or 6 city blocks doing your part to protest. But when you put yourself in with a bunch of thugs, you're a thug too. You will go, no, I'm here peaceful. I'm not. Doesn't matter. You're down there, you're a thug too. Plain and simple. I didn't go to Lansing because I wasn't going to stand with those people. As much as I think that our governor did the wrong thing, I don't agree with her. And ordinarily I would have been there. No. So if somebody wants to stand up for their rights or stand up for what they believe in or protest the police or protest this, that's fine. Do it in an organized fashion and do it about that. Don't make it about anything else. Don't stick around. Don't take over. Don't declare it a sovereign area. Don't break the law. And if people start doing it, get the hell out of there and don't come back until it's over. Because if you're there and you say, but I came here peacefully, I'm not with them. Yes, you are, because you're standing right there with them and you didn't leave.
All right, it's guilt by association.
If you leave, you're telling everybody, I don't stand with this. I came down here to protest peacefully. But when you stay for days and weeks, when you stand next to them while they're throwing bottles or doing graffiti or looting or whatever, then you're one of them. But if you leave, you're saying no. If 10% of the group committed a crime and 90% walked off, what would that say? What would the national media be able to do then? They would they?
I agree with you. I got
They're moving closer. Trying to make the crowd look bigger.
Yeah. I got another question. the defund the police. How does that work?
It depends on where you're at, pretty much. Like, I'll give you an example, Rick. Like, down here in New York City, we have like a huge homeless population issue. So now, technically, everyone would think that, a social worker or somebody from the mental health department should come and talk and try and help the homeless. Not the case down here in New York City. They implemented that the police department comes and tries to escort or get a homeless person to take refuge in a homeless shelter. We have specific officers dedicated to doing just that. So we defund them by, hey, why are you having, let's say, 50 officers dedicated to just homeless outreach? Let that be the case for social workers. Let the cops go and do the cop jobs.
I understand what you're saying there, but your social worker goes down there and goes, yeah, we got a nice homeless shelter here for you to go to. Just grab your stuff and let's go. Pulls out a gun and goes bang, bang, shoots the fucking social worker. Because they don't carry guns.
Oh, there's a lot more
homeless people don't have guns.
There's a lot more homeless in places to go. And people have time limits and how long they can stay in places.
Defund the police. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Rob.
All right, thanks. I was just saying that, I can see some of the, I'm not going to say defund, but restructure. Maybe certain areas need to be shut down and reopen the next day. I don't know, under different command or something. But I do think there needs to be something done.
The only thing I think the police need to do is get away from the military mentality that they have.
Then you're going to have a bunch of gangbangers slaughtering cops in your streets. There you go. The reason, ask Al Capone why the police are militarized. Because he had a Tommy gun and they had 38 specials. That's why. That's why cops have body armor. That's why cops have MRAPs. That's why cops have sniper rifles and night vision. So all the bad guys got that stuff too. And the cops aren't allowed to kill the bad guys. The bad guys wake up every morning thinking, maybe I'll kill me a cop today. Defund the police is I don't know if this is the right term for it, but it's stuck in my head as a Ponzi scheme. It's some type of financial scheme. You really think that the biggest police department on the planet, right there where Rob and Blind Shooter live at, are going to cut money and send it somewhere and just not spend that money? No, they're going to send it right into their political hands. So all the training that everybody wants and all the body cameras that everybody wants is not going to be affordable because you cut their funding, and both of those are extremely expensive. But you can guarantee Bill de Blasio is going to have a nice new corner office. And a bunch of cheap-ass hookers. Well, but probably
he's already done that.
Yeah, go on, Blind Shooter.
I was gonna say, he's already done that. He put his wife, aka the prostitute, in charge of homeless outreach services back when he first took office. And I forget the exact total that he gave her to work with financially. You know how much money of that went towards helping the homeless?
None of it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so now they're talking about defund the police department, like Kingpin was saying. That money's not going to go back into NYPD and helping them with training and better tactics. No, it's going to go lining his pockets and helping whatever she wants to spend it on.
That's where I would say it just needs to be restructured.
So,
if that public is that known, then why do they still have their job? Why do they still have their position? This is part of the problem in a sense. I think there's some places where they got to buy their own ammunition. Obviously, that's not somewhere you'd be trying to defund, but some of these other places, I think, they just abuse what's been given to them, and there is no consequence. There hasn't been, and it's so public that we're sitting here talking about it. I don't, why are we paying them? I don't understand. And if the police don't have to legally protect you, I think the general populace is putting too much, weight into them anyway. I think, it should lean more back towards individual safety, stand your ground laws, get rid of some of this crap so people can actually, be their defender without going to jail for it. I don't know. Some of these places, there needs to be a restructuring, I think. Better training, better evaluation, and that's going to cost money, but at least you're giving it to people that are using it, versus people that are paying for their hookers. So,
I mean,
it's like down. Go ahead, Rick.
I was saying with the police department, this is my opinion, that not all cops are bad. I'm not saying that. But it seems to me that their standard for accepting policemen has lowered, or they've changed it. I mean, there's a lot of ex-military. They love having ex-military in the police department for a simple reason: a military man takes orders. So they say go bust down that door. They're going to do it without questioning it.
What was that guy's name?
Militarizing it.
What was that guy's name? That this is the rest of the story. Remember, he used to do the little.
Oh yeah,
Paul Harvey. Paul Harvey.
Go look up A Policeman by Paul Harvey, and then come back to this conversation, and let's have another conversation about cops. Now, most of you guys probably already know, but the general public, I mentioned it last night on Joe Smith's. I give you $40,000. Anybody who's willing to accept it, cash, tax-free. 1 year, you come be a Baltimore City police officer. Because that's probably about what your mid-level Baltimore City police officer makes, is probably about 40 grand a year to work in the most dangerous place on the planet. So with no political backing whatsoever, no community backing whatsoever, $40,000, you come and do the night shift in Baltimore City, and I'll give you 40 grand cash. Anybody who wants to accept that.
I've been interested in law enforcement for a long time, and the main reason I haven't done it isn't my age or anything else like that, because they'll take 50-year-old rookies. It is the pay. I already took a big pay cut going from prototypes to production. If I went from the factory to law enforcement, even if they gave me more than, say, your standard rookie, because I've got a military background and I'm older, so maybe I make a little bit better decisions because I've been around. I'm not, 19 and don't know what I'm doing. It's still, the pay is even less. And some of the benefits might be a little bit more, but overall, the benefits I've got, are good enough. So until they want to start. Now, that's not to say that all departments aren't like that, because there are some departments that pay some serious overtime. But unfortunately, I haven't looked into applying at any of those. I've looked at some out-of-state stuff where it's more salary. Because I'll give you an example. Our local sheriff's department, they work overtime. And the concert venues, they hire them for security. And they're out there with their cruisers and their guns and everything else. But they're making time and a half, and our tax dollars aren't paying for that. So being able to volunteer for something like that to make a little extra money might be able to get me up to factory wages. But no, I think just like teachers, good cops should get paid well. Good teachers should get paid well. Average cops and average teachers should get average pay.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
I agree with that. But, it just, I just don't, I guess I don't know. I guess I've got skewed. I'm not saying all cops are bad, but their attitude has changed. Now the world has got. As you said, things have got tougher. I guess they're not getting the backing they need from the people who hire them, or who their state or their local mayor or whatever is not backing them when they go out there and do what they have to do. But it seems to me that. I don't know. There's bad apples.
Keep in mind, Rich, you're only seeing the bad most of the time.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
Just keep that in mind. Like the majority of the time, you're just seeing the bad.
Yes,
there
seems to be a lot more bad than there used to.
It's it's the what does it outweigh? Is it better for police to hit everybody like a problem? Because I don't know, 8% could be, or is it better, for people not to get violated and hit like a victim and the police took a little more risk. I think that's, a good question there. And in my opinion, I think, they should take a little more risk.
I do too.
A lot of crazy people out in the general public. So I don't think you should.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to what I
That's where I think it's the training restructure. If I think more people would be willing to be a police officer, or better people, if it was restructured and it was, how we would like to perceive our police department to be, where you can go up to an officer and ask for directions and he's helpful and this and that. But I can tell you, I've been screamed at for asking for directions in the past by an officer, like, where he cursed me out. What do I look like a foot? Well, I don't want to, but Neil said, it's, I think that would make a big difference in more people. The public opinion would change if we actually did something besides just throw more money to the same people.
Yeah. And I know, I mean, out here where I'm at, in the country, it would be easier to change the police department than it would in like the big cities like Baltimore, New York City. It would take longer to change their way they operate. As you said, you walk up to a cop and ask him, how do you get to so-and-so? 9 times out of 10, he's going to tell you to go fuck yourself.
I got a question for the panel, and you might want to discuss about it some other time. I mean, this is kind of off the track, but not really. I talk about it, the news story. We all know that if it bleeds, it leads. If it's sexy, it sells. But so when 5 people get shot in Baltimore tonight, that's going to kick off the morning news. So we're all aware of the fact that bad news always makes good news. Don't you guys think that good news stories could be just as good? Like when you could lead with the cop that saved the little kitten from the tree, or saved the little baby from the burning house, or hey, this is positive. The neighborhood got together and forced the government to come fix the pothole that the politicians were. Well, but yeah, that's what I mean. Like, is it just my naive way of thinking? But doesn't that positive humanity story, isn't that a good story too?
Yeah.
Refreshing.
It's a good story, but for some reason, as humans, we have this thing where we kind of cling to the things that are bad because we don't want to experience that thing again. And when there's something, like 5 people were shot tonight, or cat risked it out of a tree, well, people are going to be like, holy cow, 5 people were shot. I don't want to go to that area. And that's what they're going to be paying more attention to, not the, cat was rescued in the tree. Granted, I think the cat rescued out of the tree would be great, but overall, people don't pay attention to that because it doesn't connect with them on a level where it sticks.
Do you think that's kind of like the rubbernecking on the highway, or what's the old saying? What can't turn away from the train wreck, or however that goes. You think it's kind of like that?
I think it could fall in there depending on what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Like when I drove truck, I remember there was one morning I was leaving New Columbia, PA with a roll of paper, and it had been a terrible winter storm the night before, and I'm getting on to I-80, and I go 2 miles on 80, and there's a doubles driver facing the opposite way that he should have been, jackknifed and all sorts of stuff. Went down the road about another 5 miles, and there's a doubles driver for, I think, UPS up in the side of the mountain. And this went on for about another 20 miles, and I saw 5 different trucks. And meanwhile, I would see, trucks every day. We're going along, we're just fine. But when you see that kind of carnage in that short of span, it sticks with you.
Yeah, I think the negative stuff is, I think it's our way. We like to see, I mean, I know it's kind of morbid and bad, but I think we like, subconsciously, we like to see that the other person is having a, is bad or got murdered or got shot or in a car crash and died. It wasn't me sort of attitude. I don't know how to explain it, but that's what I think anyway.
Yeah, when I drive by somebody and I see them, whether it's a nice sunny day or it's a cold, snowing, crappy day, and they're on the side of the road changing a tire, or they got a flat or their hood's up and their engine's smoking, I always feel bad for those people. Whether they're jerks or whether, who knows, maybe they didn't do the maintenance on their car, all the million different things. But I always think, man, that really sucks for that person. Because I've been there before, that really sucks.
Oh, yeah.
How many people stop and help that person?
Yeah, none nowadays because it's too dangerous. Well, it's considered too dangerous now.
Yeah, I'd still help somebody depending who it is. I wouldn't necessarily. I don't stop all the time. I'm not gonna lie to everybody or something. But if I seen a mom out there stuck in heels or something, I would probably stop to help or whatever. Or even a guy that just, I've seen a lot of guys that know less than the average woman about changing a tire. I've actually helped quite a few people. But yeah, a lot of people don't. I've also offered to help people, and they were scared to death, like scared to death. Wouldn't get out of the car, wouldn't crack the window. I told them, like, you don't have to get out. I can, just pop the trunk and I can do it for you. No. This was actually right on my street. And I was unloading a jack from my truck at the time when I seen this. And I was like, well, if you need a hand, not a problem. Oh no, she called somebody else. Middle of the day, people are out and about, so it's not like it's a dark alley somewhere. A guy came. She like literally ran, got in his car, and he hopped out. I don't know, swap seats, whatever. She took off, and he came over, staring over his shoulder the whole time, like as if he was going to get attacked, to change the tire, and then just took off as quick as possible. Like, it's pretty sad in the sense that people got to be that scared sometimes. There's nothing I can do. I felt a little insulted by it in a sense, but whatever. But it's people are a little strange out there sometimes. Even if you're offering to help somebody, I suggest being very careful about it and not pushy.
Yeah, I don't know.
People take things very wrong, so be cautious. It's a risky game nowadays. You help somebody, and sometimes you get in trouble. So
I wrote down here. I wrote this down yesterday. I said the country has gone crazy. That's what I wrote with my pad down here. It really has. I still love this country, and I still think it's still one of the best countries. Oh, well, it is the best country to live in, right? We still have, even though we piss and moan about it, we still have freedom per se, But it's not it's not the America I remember growing up when I was a kid here, living on the farm, jumping in the back of the pickup truck as my uncle drives us down to town to get it to the local country store to get a soda. You know what I'm saying? Those days are gone. And I miss it. It seemed to be a more free or relaxed country than it is today.
Everything's got to be so safe nowadays. I almost think you should blame it on the attorneys, because every time you turn around, somebody's getting sued for something. You know what I mean? Which is just ridiculous in a lot of these cases, which is basically set precedent for other cases. So now everything's got to be a different way. So yeah, you're right. Anyway, let me do my quiz from last week. I know we don't have many people here today in the chat, but last week I wanted to know what the gun was that was issued to the British Home Guard, and it was called the Lewis gun, or the Lewis machine gun. It was invented by U.S. Army Colonel Isaac Newton Lewis in 1911. It was based on initial work by Samuel McLean. But it wasn't adopted by the U.S. military, so he took it overseas, and that's where it was used in the First World War, the Second, and I think it was even used in Korea
but it was, it wasn't an American military. It wasn't an American weapon. So that's it. And the winner, hang on, let me press my thing here and see who we got. All right, New York Outcast.
Look, no joke at all. I was literally just about to push the button and make a joke and say, I bet you Rob wins. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, the name gave it away to me, so I was pretty sure. So I thought I'd look, but I don't want to. I was trying to participate, but if you want to just hold those prizes to the next round or whatever.
Oh, all right, I can do that. Because I am getting low on swag because of the shutdown. I didn't go to the I haven't been out anywhere to get any swag, so I'm running low. If anybody out there wants to get rid of swag and send it to me, I will plug your channel while I'm giving it away as a prize. There you go. How's that? Plus, that's why I went into that that thing G-Webs is doing on the patch to get some free patches to give away.
By the way, congratulations on that, getting the patches. That's pretty awesome. And I wish I had the money to buy the whole set. I mean, that's pretty awesome. There's a lot of first-time patches coming out.
Yeah, I don't know how. I know he's got a goal set there. We're only at about 30%, but I don't know how much we actually. I mean, do we? I think he's got down there. He needs $4,000. I don't know if that's really what we need. I'm not sure, but I hope it's not. I hope whatever he gets. I hope that we get enough to do it.
I think that's his break-even point or something. He said.
Yeah. Well, I put the link in the chat if anybody's interested in it.
$4,000 for patches. How many patches you getting? I should. Never mind. Don't worry about it. I'm the cheap guy. Shit. $4,000.
10 of them, right? And I think it's 10 of them, and he wants to get them the first run or whatever. I think how it's set up is 10 patches, 100 patches each. Right, so that'd be 1,000 patches. I don't know how much. I don't think it costs that much. Maybe he put that on there, hoping to get close to it, or he planned on making more patches. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but I think it's a great idea. But he just said if he's a near break-even point, that's even better. He more ain't over-exaggerated on it, hoping that he'll get close. Is what I'm thinking, personally.
I don't know how the finances work around it, but the way he does it is he needs enough patches to give to winners and people who donate. So if you buy one patch, a Rick's Life patch, then you get that. If you buy the whole set, he's got to have 10 patches for you. Plus, you will get a whole bunch of patches for yourself, Rick. And then Travis and each individual channel will get a whole bunch of patches for themselves. So it's actually it's quite a few patches he's going to have to make.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know about the finances, whether it's
out of that. Like if it goes through and I get my patch, the casting or whatever is I can order more because it's already been made. I mean, to get the patch is cost almost as much as the patches themselves do.
Oh yeah. I was gonna do some Allen Anchor stuff, and I just couldn't afford it. Not that she's expensive. I'm not knocking Angela at all, but I just couldn't afford it. And she told me, she was like, for me to put your logo in and get it into my system and get it ready to make stickers and patches, that's where the expensive part is. Printing out the patches doesn't take a whole lot of money, but developing the software or whatever they got to do, the template or whatever, that's where the money's at.
Yeah, absolutely. And you think about it, he's doing 10 different ones. So that's 10 different of these things they got to make. So anyway, that's what that was. Anyway, the question for this week's contest is, here we go. What I want to know is, what rifle did the French Foreign Legion use, and what have they changed to since 2017? Make and model of what they used and what they're using now. French Foreign Legion. Email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or Spotted Rick or Spotted Dick actually at gmail.com. Get it to me by next Saturday, and you'll be in a chance for the quiz. So there we go. And it, all right. Anything else, guys? Want to talk about?
Somebody needs to call and check on Rob. I think he's getting invaded by dinosaurs. That bad boy's huge, man.
Yeah, he was tiny when we got him. Little thing. Now he's pretty big. I don't know if I can get his. You can't really see the tail all the way down, but
damn.
Yeah.
I see.
That wasn't my idea.
He's got his tactical vest on too.
Oh yeah. Probably get 2, maybe 3 9mm mags on there. Not sure. So see what I can do.
Is that yours or one of your or the kids?
The ladies. So yeah, she had one years and years back, and apparently it was acted like a dog and ran around wanting to be petted all the time and stuff. And now she's upset because this one's like totally the opposite. Doesn't do anything. Just leave me alone. So, but yeah, try to get it outside, get some exercise, running around and doing his business and stuff.
Yeah. Hey, if it works, why not?
Yeah, it scares a lot of people away. I tell you, you walk down the street with this versus a pit bull, more people are going to run. Nobody wants to be near this thing. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. So, all right.
My cousin had one of those, and they always get loose and climb the tree.
Yeah.
You see, they just sit there. They just sit there and bask in the sun. They just sit there and don't do anything.
Yeah, he's trying to get in the. He's got what's that? A bearded dragon.
Euromastics, but the care is just like a beardy. Sandhills has got bearded dragons.
This one keeps trying to head towards the garden, but we're not having that.
You got him on a rope, haven't you?
Yeah, runner.
Yeah, so there you go. All right. Have you got any plugs or anything? Shout outs, New York? Because we're winding this one down.
Just maybe if you didn't catch Joe Smith's show last night, maybe give that a look. It got pretty fun for a while. Kingpin was there, so it got rough. But I think it went pretty well. Other than that, that's basically it. Everybody enjoy your day. Try to get outside, get some fresh air.
Yeah, I know it's a hot one here today. It's almost 90 degrees, So, and I'm going to have burgers on the grill is what I'm having. I'm putting burgers on the grill. Last night I grilled. I got boneless, skinless chicken breasts. And all I done was put salt and pepper and some seasoning oil on them. That was it. Threw them on the grill about, maybe 8-9 minutes each side. Oh, man, that was good. The cats loved it. I cut a little piece off of them when it was done, let it cool down. They chomped down on the chicken with me. So that was quite good. And then I took what I made, actually, I know it was bad for me, is I actually took some of those rolls again and made myself a barbecue chicken sandwich with them. But hey, boneless, skinless is good for you.
Yeah, that's not that bad. It's not bad at all, actually. So, how much as well. So, hopefully, you're still getting a salad in now and then.
Oh yeah.
All right. If you could get one in every night, it would be helpful. But
I know it would.
Takes a while for people. Some don't care for it.
I am working on it. I'm trying to eat healthier. I've been eating apples for dessert, and if I get hungry, I've been eating celery sticks in between meals. So that's what I've been doing so far. I got to go back out to the store. I got to go down to the store tomorrow to get some more for the rest of the, for the rest of the month. So, all right, Guns and Barbecue. You got any shout outs or plugs or anything?
No, nothing really. I believe it was Wednesday. Squib had mentioned the Arizona Ghost Riders were doing that live show today. I don't remember what time. I'm sure he probably is a better source, but if you guys don't have anything to do, I bet that would be fun to go and watch. Old West stuff and guns. So what's better than that? Thanks for having me, Rick.
No problem. I appreciate you being here. Become a good part of the team here. Kingpin, plugs or shout outs?
First, I'll obviously give my plug and shout out to you. Thank you very much. Love being here. Love the conversation and the panel you put together. Go check out Guns and Barbecue's last video. If you're interested in cooking whatsoever and you're cooking outside and you're trying to get some flavor together, check out his video because he talks a lot about the wood that you use and how it helps different flavors. It's in my opinion, it's a really good video. So go check that out.
Thank you.
All right, Squib. Shout out, plugs.
Yeah, the time for the Arizona Ghost Riders live broadcast from Trail Dust Town of the Pinnacle Peak Pistoleros should be 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 p.m. Mountain, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 8:30 p.m. Eastern, the only time zone that matters.
Absolutely. So I want to say thank you to them, and I want to say thank you to everybody who's out there in the chat, whether you said anything or not. I'm glad you're here. And I said I will be back on Wednesday at 7 p.m. And so I will see you all then. So I want to say goodbye to everybody. Have a good rest of the weekend. And I will talk to you later. All right, we're over.